Hi, ladies. Welcome to another episode of the Femalepreneur Coach podcast. I am your host, Rebecca Barr. I am so excited to join you today for this kind of impromptu episode that's been driven by a lot of conversations that I'm having around women that have had quite a turbulent 2023 as it relates to their finances and are now looking for a real kind of structured approach to continual progression in their business so that they don't have to keep going through these feast and famine cycles. I'm all for going all in on your business and really backing yourself and, essentially holding yourself accountable to what it is that you want, but not if that puts you in a place of financial jeopardy. So in this episode today, I will be sharing all of the things that I have learned as a money mindset mentor in terms of energetics and manifestation and all the things that relate to money, but also practical strategies as an entrepreneur with 9 years in business that, you can literally take away and implement today that will put you in a really great position from the new year. So firstly, thank you for being here. If you are watching on my YouTube channel, please make sure you subscribe. If you're watching on my or listening on my podcast, please make sure you subscribe there. This year for me coming up is a real year of impact. It's not about the income, it's about the impact. And I really want to make sure that I'm reaching as many incredible women in business as I can. And that obviously comes from you guys supporting me and getting the message out, essentially sharing, commenting, liking, subscribing, all the things, because I have learned so much in 9 years of business. And these are the kind of things that I share that other people don't talk about. You can't learn these things in school. You can't, unless you pay for an accountant or a financial advisor, you can't find these things out for yourself. It's like literally trial and error and learned wisdom that I'm sharing with you, and some of the tools and things that have helped me. So, we need to get that out to more women. So if you are a woman who perhaps you've earned good money in the past, or in certain periods of the year, everything's been flowing, it's been abundant, it's amazing. Everyone is telling you about, just stay in the vibration of wealth, just be super positive, go all in and on your goals and your dreams and your business, get that credit card, put things on, overdrafts and all of the things. It's like, I'm so here for that anything is possible mindset and really tapping into the abundance that's available for you. But I also know, with a psychology background, that continually operating in that panic, feast, fight or flight response is not good for your nervous system, and actually in the long run it doesn't really serve you in business. One thing that I've learned is there will be times when, yes, you need that element of stretch to really expand into your next level of income. Like, we are like fish that will grow to the size of our tank, and I believe in having things that will keep you slightly more accountable to continuing that momentum in terms of growth. And I've absolutely done it. This is the thing. I've absolutely put things on credit cards. I've paid for things before I'm ready. I always move from vision and where I want to go. And, sometimes that means paying for a mentor who charged me, I think, like 25K, and I wasn't necessarily even hitting consistent 10K months at that point, but I knew that that's where I wanted to go. And you've got to then be in the energy, understand the mindset, get access to the people that can show you how to do that. So absolutely, I don't believe in living like a frugal life. I always know that you can earn more money and all of the things, but equally you have to balance that out in a way that feels good to you and sustainable with your nervous system, so that you aren't essentially self-sabotaging that growth by having some money and essentially over investing, then going back into a state of I've got no money and having to then try and operate from there. And I've definitely had mentors that are like, just don't focus on the bills and stuff. Like, the money will come. And it's like, but what if it doesn't? That's not a good place to create from or serve your clients. So maybe you are a woman, like I said, that's had a bit of a turbulent 2023. I know a lot of women that did. And equally, as an entrepreneur, you need to be able to continually innovate. What works for you at one period of time in your business is not necessarily going to be that thing that's going to still be working 5 years down the line. Now, for me, I'm a manifesting generator in human design. I fully embrace and accept the fact that I go where the energy feels good. and therefore my outcome is always good because my energy is good and how I'm approaching it is good. And I accept that I am not a rinse and repeat program type of girl. So I've always had this natural, innate ability to innovate, pivot, continually upgrade, refine, evolve. But I know that there's other energy types that would perhaps struggle with that. They would prefer to stay within, one thing, stay in their lane, and go with what works. But I would, obviously, again, like to kind of point out the fact that you always need to be continually innovating, being in collaboration with your audience, make sure that what you're delivering is actually what they need, what they want, make sure that your programs are getting results, because the revenue's in the reviews and all of the things. But that's not really what I'm here to talk about today. It's more about getting yourself in good habits when it comes to your money management in business. So the first thing I wanted to kind of invite you to do is to really let go of any limitations that you've unintentionally placed on yourself around what it is that you are capable of creating, receiving, making in your business, and really forgive yourself for any past mistakes, i.e. bad investments, overstretching, that time that you couldn't make your payment, that time that client defaulted, and just eliminate any element of meaning that you're applying to those things about you, about yourself and your capability and your potential and your future earnings and your ability, your worthiness, all of the things, because money doesn't care about you, as in it's not, it's responding to you and the energy that you're putting out, but it doesn't care whether you're worthy or whether you're a good person or whether you have good intentions or whether you try really hard. It is just going wherever it feels welcome and where it feels cool to. So when a client defaults on a payment, when somebody says no on a sales call, when you aren't making the money that you know you are capable of, none of this is as a reflection of how money feels about you. It just is. It's coming from you, but it isn't really about you. It's just about your energy that you're putting out. It's not that you're not capable, worthy, or lucky, or any of the things. So let's kind of make a commitment right now that we're going to give ourselves a real opportunity for a clean slate, and really take January the 1st as an opportunity, or whatever it is. It doesn't even have to be the beginning of the year. It could be the beginning of the month, the beginning of the week, the beginning of the day. Like, today is a brand new day, and everything that's happened in the past does not define what is available to me in the future. Like, set that commitment and that intention, and let go of all of that stuff. And part of what I do with my clients around like making yourself a conduit for more money is about creating space and abundance and healing this past trauma, and eliminating these beliefs that you've attached to money and past experiences about you and your worth. So I'd love to invite you to do that a little bit more. Obviously, if you want to dive in deeper to that element of the work, then I've currently got a free end of year workbook that would be money date workbook that would be really good for you. I'll pop the link in the show notes. But also, Millionaire Mindset Bootcamp is the ultimate place to really dive deep into this work and unpick a lot of the layers as it relates to our money. So that's kind of that. The second step is to essentially create an intentional spending plan that you want to live by month to month, or maybe look at your 12-month goals. And I like to always move from vision. So this isn't about what do I need, I hate the term budget because straight away it's focusing on constriction and restriction as opposed to expansion and desire. And our brains are designed to move towards pleasure and away from pain. So the more that you attach like this negative association with money, the less kind of exciting it feels to really move towards it. If you've got a desire, a goal, a future self dream life budget or intentional spending plan that just feels like, I could literally cry. That is exactly what I want. That's exactly how I want to live my life. That's how I want to show up, the places that I want to invest in, how I want to be supported, how I want to show up for myself and for others. It's going to be so much more harder to not take the inspired steps to move towards that vision than, I just want to make sure I've paid like my XYZ bills. Like, who wants to get out of bed in the morning when they don't necessarily want to create that reality? Like, that doesn't feel very exciting or compelling. If it's, oh my God, this is my dream life, I can feel it calling me. I absolutely know that that is exactly what I'm meant to be doing and how I'm meant to be living in this life. It's much easier to really start taking those inspired steps towards that. And they always talk about different levels of goals, and we need this element of stretch goals to really make it compelling and light a fire up our ass to go and do the things that we need to do. So that's what I would like you to do, is essentially create an intentional spending plan for your life. And again, you can do this in the workbook. And then what part of that do you need your business to fund, so that you've got complete clarity of what you need to make? Because what I see happens a lot of the time is that women aren't realistic with what they need to make in their business. They aren't thinking big enough. They are literally thinking about pocket money and side hustles, and they aren't really scratching the potential of what they are capable of creating. Because here's the thing, there's billions of people out there in the world right now that you can help and support and share your message with, that will absolutely, in exchange for that energy, compensate you for your services. There are billions of people in the world, and you only need a tiny fraction to invest in your services to really have an pretty incredible, meaningful income. So let's give ourselves permission to dream bigger, to think bigger, to want more. And by doing that, then you really start to step into that CEO mindset of treating your business like a business rather than a hobby. And again, like I say, a lot of the women that come to me initially, it's like, oh, I just need like maybe £1,000, £2,000, £3,000. And it's like, but by the time you take on, and even 10K months, you know, I hate arbitrary money goals. This has to be a money goal that is relevant to you, that is personal to you, that is going to really pull you forwards in life. Equally, if it's like, oh yeah, 10K months, but there's no meaning behind that, you don't actually need £10,000 to live this epic life, then why are you setting yourself an impossible benchmark that you're not really even that bothered about achieving, because you don't really believe that it's possible, and it's not really going to move your life forward in any particular way? It's totally pointless. But if you can create an intentional spending plan, that means that you can then reverse engineer that to then, therefore, then what do I need my business to make, taking into account your taxes and your expenses. Then what does, you know, what is that number to you? And when you've got that, it's much easier to then reverse engineer the activities and be honest with yourself about what it takes to operate a business at that level. And typically what happens is women need a lot more money than they realize. Unless they're continuing to bootstrap their business, i.e., you know, go for the free software, the free masterclasses, do everything alone, well, you're only ever going to be able to get so far in your business. You're not actually going to be able to scale or grow anything without investing at some point in your business. And like I say, treating it like a business. So let's kind of bear that in mind already. Are you running a business and growing it and giving it the fuel it needs to expand and thrive? Or are you bootstrapping a hobby, essentially, and creating a pocket money side hustle business that is really only like month to month and keeping you stuck with where you currently are? Like, really get into the habit of moving from vision and where you ultimately want to go. And it will really help you to make decisions with your time, where you're placing your energy, with your boundaries, with, you know, and I talk about the wealthy women decisions that you make in your life and the worn out woman decisions that you are making in your life. And again, explore this further inside the Millionaire Mindset Bootcamp. But you know, when you're sitting there looking at, actually, what do I need to make in my business to have a really meaningful income that's then going to fuel my dream life, that is going to take care of all of my financial responsibilities and my expenses, and really set me up for the income and the income impact that I know that I am capable of? What does that actually look like? And one thing that really helped me to shift the mindset with this was reading the Profit First book by Mike Michalowicz. So originally, when I first started my businesses, it was like all of the money came in and all of the money went out. I never had anything left over. And it just seemed to be that that was my energetic set point. And even if I did have money left over, I'd be almost reinvesting to the point of financial jeopardy, where it was like I was scared to have the money just kind of in there. I was scared to take anything out for myself in case I couldn't replicate it the next month and I might need it. Like, there was just so much fear around my business. And what I realized was, obviously everything's energy, and what you're putting out is what you're going to get to come back. But what I realized was, rather than thinking like, right, it's sales, whatever income comes into my business minus what I need to run my business is what I then, the scraps that I then get left over. the reality is that's not a very sustainable business model, because I was continually miserable. I was like, I'm working all the hours, I'm doing all the things, and I never see any returns. Like, my staff go on holiday, they're moving on and progressing in life, and I'm literally just living month to month. It didn't feel good. And at some point you will resent your business, and then you start to lean out, and then the money, like the energy starts to dissipate, the money dissipates, and all the things. You need to be having a sustainable business from the outset. So this kind of leads me into my next point. But number 3, as the money comes in, automatically start to segment it. Never think, right, okay, I've got £1,000, so therefore I can spend £1,000. You have to look at it as, what do I want to take from my business? So if it is, I want to have an income of £1,000 that is mine, that is profit, that I can withdraw from the business, and that's going to fuel something else, and that's going to fund my dream life. £1,000 probably wouldn't do it, maybe nearer like 5, 10, I don't know what it is. But then what do I need to earn on top of that for taxes? What do I then need to earn on top of that for expenses? Because here's the thing, you can run a business pretty much on nothing, and you can run a business on thousands. And I've done both ends of the spectrum, where my business outgoings were like 5 figures, and also when they've been like a few hundred. So you can do it at both ends of the spectrum, and that will be dependent on your capacity, your energy, your skill set, where, your vision, like da 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 da. But I would always recommend that you are supported and you're realistic with what it takes to actually run a business. And again, like I say, a lot of women, when I look around, they're investing in high ticket mentors who are like costing them thousands. But those mentors are not bootstrapping their business. They have thousands of pounds of income, like expenses and stuff in their business, but they're always prioritizing their profit first and ensuring that their needs are taken care of. They're not doing that. They wouldn't be scaling a business that is continuing to be at the cost of themselves. They have figured out a way to extract the profit and also to be supported, whether that's with a team, whether that's with adverts, whether that's with software, automations, hiring experts, consultants, copywriters, all of the things. Like, when you look at the big scale mentors, none of them are sitting doing it by themselves at home, trying to scrimp and save every penny. So how do you then expect to have the same success as that person, just because you've invested in their program, by not taking and moving from the same empowered actions that they are taking? So you need to get honest with yourself. Like, as it comes in, I always work in percentages. It just makes more sense to me. I literally look at the whole amount, and I take off so much of my taxes and VAT and all of the other things. I take out what I then want as my profit, and my margins vary depend on the different season of business I'm in. Sometimes there's a season of business where it's like, no, I need to continually reinvest back into my business because I've got growth plans doing, I want to do rebrands, and or something else is happening that is like, yes, this is like, I need to reinvest at this time because this is going to pay me dividends in the future, or it's just going to feel really fun and exciting. That's the thing. Not everything needs an ROI in your business, but then obviously whatever is left over, like, that is my non-negotiables, business expenses. Like, so what are those for you? Like, I had a client today that defaulted on a payment, and essentially, like, she had a client that defaulted on her payment, and it put her in jeopardy, and she wasn't able to literally operate her business from that place because she didn't have enough money in her account. Now, that cannot happen as a business owner, because it's like the short-term short-term gain for long-term pain, because you might have been able to delay that payment for a minute, but ultimately you're not going to be able to earn money in your business. So you have to invest. And it always makes me die when I've got clients that come to me that want like 10K months, and yet they aren't prepared to treat their business like a business. They are running it like a hobby. They are taking every penny out like it's their pocket money, and they aren't investing in the future and growth of their business. That's the thing. You have to start fueling your business like a high performance machine, like you need to fuel yourself in terms of your energy, your self-care, your boundaries, your support levels. You cannot fill an empty cup, cannot pour from an empty cup. It's the same with your business. If you're taking everything out of it, how do you expect to grow and nurture that growth from a place of empowerment and alignment when you are literally like, I can't pay the bills? Like, that's not okay, and that's not good, and it's not good for your nervous system. So this brings me on to my next point, which is around returning full circle to the money mindset element. But if that has been your reality, there is no judgment or shame here. That's the thing. Like, we're small business owners in the UK. It is not easy to get a startup business off the ground. That's the reality. And it blew my mind. Like, I literally had to sell my house to buy my first business because there was nothing available to me as a single parent and woman to finance my first business. Now, obviously, my first business was a big one, and the initial outlay was huge, and then the continual like investment was huge as well. So I had a choice to make, and it's like, well, do I want a business that is actually going to create a meaningful income and is going to support me and my kids for the next 7 years, or do I want to keep pissing about over here, making a little bit of money, no money, da da da? Like, can I live in that state of constant stress when technically I can't go back to employment? Because obviously, anybody that knows my backstory, I had a really great successful HR career, but I was a single parent with 3 small kids that weren't yet at school, and my mum was my main source of childcare. She then unexpectedly had a stroke. I went to drop the kids off one morning on my way into London, tottered down the path, like with the baby on my shoulder, like ready to go, already a little bit late for my meeting. And she'd had a stroke, and that was that. Like, literally from that moment, unemployable. So I didn't have this, like, I'm just going to build up this side hustle, minimum risk, like one arm in, one arm out. It was shit. Like, literally, I got to figure this out quick. And I've got to make a meaningful, sustainable income that's going to support me and my kids because no one's going to save me. I've got no plan B or backup. And I literally am not employable because the costs of childcare were so ridiculous. And also my working hours were so ridiculous. I traveled all around the UK. There's no like childminder in the world that's going to take your kids at 5 a.m. and then you're back at 7 and then go to your house and put them to bed and all the things. And I just thought, this is an opportunity really for me in any setback, what feels like a setback in life, what feels like a real like low point, there was always an opportunity to see a lesson and blessing in that. Even like in the workbook that I've talked about, that's completely free, you don't even need to sign up, I'll pop it in the show links. It's for you to start thinking in that mindset of like, rather than why is this happening to me, it's how is this happening for me. And I remember sitting there and thinking, I am never really going to get another opportunity like this. Like, I know that I've wanted to have my own business for many years. Corporate life doesn't suit me. I don't fit in that box. I miss my kids. Like, I haven't been happy for a long time. And this is really my chance to go all in. And yes, I'm gutted that it means that I need to sell my house because there's so much tied up with me having a property and all of the things that represented safety to me. But ultimately, if ever there was a time to really go all in and just think, fuck it. Like, sometimes you need those moments in your life to really pull it out of the bag and take different action rather than like scrabbling around and what can tide me over for the next few months? Where can I borrow money? I was like, let's go. Like, literally. And sometimes you need the whole of your universe to literally fall down and rebirth like a phoenix from the flame into something that was even better than you thought was possible. And that is essentially what happened to me. And intuitively, I just knew, I'm not going to fight this. I'm going to go with this because I have not been happy anyway. So what is the worst thing that can happen is that I sell my house, I get this business, and then at some point I have to go back and get another job. Okay, like, I'm resourceful. I will figure it out. So that's what I did. And so I already set that expectation that I'm not losing my home, I'm not going back to work, I'm not doing XYZ. So if you have been living in a state this year where you have now suddenly become accustomed to defaulting on your payments, getting behind on your bills, having loads of money, having no money, it's like, better the devil you know. Like, as much as that doesn't feel good, as much as it's a toxic cycle, it's familiar now. We've accepted it. We have lived that experience and we've come on the other side and we're not homeless on the street. So now it's like, okay, maybe it's not so bad. Like, you've set your energetic minimum standard of living and operating and receiving way below probably what you thought you would. But now that's become your new normal. So what we now need to do is intentionally start to bring that back up. So if you are somebody that's currently living in your overdraft, and by the way, there is no judgment or shame with this, because this is why I am a money mentor, not because I had a rags to riches story. I've had a rags to riches, back to rags, back to riches, back to fucking rags, and back to riches again, because new level, new devil, like, things will always come up. I've got business debts from my previous businesses that because of COVID, like, I wasn't immune to that, but equally I'm not defined by that. I'm not bothered by that. It's in hand, it's being managed, it's taken care of, and I'm still going to live my best life. And at some point that will go, and I'm good. I haven't allowed it to stop me talking about money, stop me talking. I actually think it's better to invest in somebody who has had to dig themselves out from the trenches and has learned the lesson, has learned the things that will really help them. And that's what's happened. Like, you may have potentially got so used to being in the trenches and firefighting and hustling that becomes, that adrenaline, that stress becomes addictive. That pattern of behavior becomes addictive. So how do we now start to create more peace, more acceptance, more normality around having more money, and for it to be safe, to be an overflow? No one's coming to steal that money if you have it sitting in your account. No, like, it's not wasting money or leaving money there or not being sensible if you're allowing it to just sit and be, rather than reinvest and have nothing again, you know? And it's just about self-leadership, self-regulation, whatever that feels for you. But you need to start bringing that energetic minimum back up. So if you're in your overdraft right now, it's intentionally starting to reduce off that overdraft, because logging into your banking account and seeing a big red minus and having constant reminders on your phone that you're late, you're defaulted, this, that, not enough funds in your account, that is like going to set you back. Those are scarcity signals that are like a dagger to your nervous system every time you receive them. So let's put on our big girl pants and let's get resourceful and get into solutions mode. So if you've got things right now that are continually defaulting, move the payment date. Or if you're actually thinking, oh, I only need like £2,000 or £3,000 to run my business, and you're still at that point only one shit show away from a client not paying or paying late or something else happening, unexpected bill, to then be back in the state of chaos. Let's elevate that monthly target and get it to a more meaningful amount, and then reverse engineer your actions accordingly. Like, maybe you need to do a bit more fucking work. Like, maybe you need to prioritize more lead generation. Maybe you need a mentor to show you the blind spots in your business. Maybe you need to be, because here's the thing, like, for me, that blows my mind is the online space glamorizes how little work you need to do, and how that is really the holy grail, how little you can do with how big a return that you can get. Well, I actually find it very empowering to know that the more energy that I put in my business, the more that I'm going to get come out the other side. So it's entirely in your control to completely transform your life and change your situation right now. And however, what action you've taken to get you here is going to require a different level of action to get you out of it. So you have to be willing for that. You need to make some adjustments for that. The definition of insanity is to keep doing the same old thing that you've been doing that feels comfortable, safe, and familiar, easy to manage, not really stretching myself, not really getting out of my comfort zone, not really doing too much. To do that and expect that you're going to, you know, have a different outcome, have more abundance, have more money in your business, is complete insanity. So let's get real around what it takes to actually have a thriving business. And like I said, it's that ability to adapt, innovate, evolve, expand. It's a commitment to fueling your business growth. It's structure, it's routine, it's consistency, it's all of the unsexy things that people will not market their programs by. They won't tell you about any of these things because it's not sexy and it's not going to encourage you to part with your money. Everybody's looking for the quick wins. Everybody's looking for the passive income, and that I didn't do anything and now I make a shed ton of money. Guess what? That's not the reality for most women. It is possible, absolutely. And I'm here for like the quantum leaps, but let's not fucking put our peace and our sanity on that hope. Let's actually get into, I am the kind of woman that can make shizzle happen. Yes, I'm available for quantum leaps and financial miracles, but I'm not relying on those to save me, because nobody's going to save me but me. I'm resourceful. I can get results. I can make things happen. I can move energy and do what I know I need to do in my business to start stepping into this more empowered, financially badass woman and version of myself. I'm not waiting for anybody or anything else to save me, because I can do it by my damn self. And obviously, if you want to do any of that work, let me know. In all of my programs, I'm supporting the women to do that, because that is essentially empowerment. It is, yes, it's self-confidence and having self-worth, but a truly empowered woman is one who knows that she doesn't rely on anybody else for money to live her best life on her own damn terms. That is a truly empowered woman to me. So once we've got are, we're starting to move more into overflow, and we've increased incrementally our maximum and minimum energetic boundaries in terms of the money that we are comfortable with receiving and being in our energy. We've incrementally thought about how we could then upgrade our business. Maybe Kajabi right now feels like a big investment, but in 3 months, let's plan for that. It's then about having smart ways to increase your revenue streams and the money that's actually coming into your business. Never rely on one offer, one client, one thing. Always hedge your bets and have as many different revenue streams in your business as possible, not to dilute your focus, but to ensure that you never leave money on the table. So that could be affiliate payments, repurposing old programs, assets, and having passive income, building funnels. Like, let's get really smart with our money and how we are receiving it. So just to recap them, the 5 steps that you need to take to really step into financial empowerment and overflow in your business in 2024 is to, first of all, let go of the past and really deal with your money mindset stuff and beliefs that is keeping you stuck at your current level of income. Let's let the shame and the guilt go. It's creating an intentional spending plan and being really honest around what it takes to actually live your life, and creating that compelling vision for you to move towards. Segmenting out your money as it comes in, having it in separate accounts, not looking at the whole amount as if it's yours, and allowing it to, and having your non-negotiables within that so that you've always got business operating expenses covered, but not at the cost of your own personal profit. It's working on your minimum and maximum energetic like buffers, or wealth thermostat, I like to refer to it as, so that you can start to incrementally increase that over the years. It's also about increasing your smart ways to receive money and increase your income in your business that don't rely on you personally all of the time. So when you stop, your business doesn't stop. I hope that you've loved this episode. Let me know what your key takeaways are. I'm going to pop the link in for the workbook. No sign up is required, and here is to an abundant and prosperous new year.